anxiety is so bad right now.
So what are you anxious about?
Everything. This right here.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. Because I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm controlling.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. What do you think that is? Like, where do you think you're controlling? Where does that stem from? Is it like a Napoleon complex, but female version?
No. Well, you want to get real?
Yeah,
like you
totally.
Want me to be
1000%
honest
real.
and personal?
Totally.
Okay. No, it totally stems from, like, my sexual abuse as a kid.
Well, we're getting into it early.
Didn't want to get that
That's
real.
okay. That's okay.
It's my favorite thing to talk about myself.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know about
It
that.
seems to be.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to ask on that without, getting too personal. So what do you feel comfortable stating about it that you think should be stated or would be worth stating in a sense, if you'd like?
Oh gosh, yeah, now I'm like, why did I bring it up? Right off the bat.
Yeah, anything that needs to be edited out, we could do.
This is why my relationships don't work out. I'm always like, oh, you think you want to know about me? I was sexually abused, motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, when you're violated in that way, and it's unwanted, obviously, it gives you a controlling complex of, like, I always have to be in control of my surroundings. That's where my OCD comes into play.
Okay.
And, like, yeah, I also obsessively plan things. So all of that are sort of, like, protective self-defense mechanisms to make sure, like, nothing bad ever happens to me again, in a sense.
Okay. Do you carry pepper spray?
I don't.
You should.
Yes,
You should.
I've been told.
I wanted to make this thing called a macelet, where it's just a bracelet, but it sprays mace.
Oh.
That would be cool, but, like, I don't go anywhere with my thoughts. One of the things in regards to OCD, obsessive, controlling issues, how do you think that's positive for you in life?
Good question. Well, I think it has definitely helped me in terms of, like, trying to perform stand-up comedy. I have found that stand-up comedy is a great outlet to channel my OCD into, because people hear OCD, they assume it's like a cleanliness thing a lot of times, and it is that for me as well, but it's not strictly that. It's more like obsessive compulsive thoughts that you can't control. And so instead of, like, obsessively thinking about things that I have no control over and just driving myself crazy with it, I can write a joke about it and then be, like, playing that joke over and over again in my mind until I, like, get to the stage and get to throw it down there, and then it's very cathartic. And I just feel like it's more positive to have those obsessive thoughts towards something like stand-up comedy, because it is just a very I hate to repeat myself.
Good.
The OCD is, like,
Say it again. Say it better.
Yeah.
Say it better than you just did. That's not good enough. Go for it.
It's just very cathartic to go up and to an open mic and say some stuff, and then you're like, okay, now those obsessive thoughts can just kind of be left on the stage.
Next question on that. Hecklers, have you encountered them, and how do you handle that within your controlling kind of need? How do you match your need for control within a heckler? Have you handled it yet? Because you are new to comedy.
Yes.
But
Yes.
nonetheless.
Another really good question. I am very new to comedy. I haven't experienced too many hecklers, but I have a few times, and I always wish I could play into that and have, like, a really good response and a comeback, but I don't. I literally just ignore them because because it's the OCD thing. It's like, no, you're not gonna fuck with my set. Like,
That's fucking awesome,
I
though.
have it the way I'm gonna do it, and I
Yeah.
just like literally ignore them. But I think it would be more fun once I can learn to kind of play into the crowd with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I think you'll definitely have that capability, and I noticed some comics that are better than us that are more experienced, I guess you could say. It's like they have the shit ready to go because they know what to expect when, almost like a rap battle or something like that, where they just have it locked and ready to go, and you know, somebody lets out that specific heckle out, and I'm okay with them. I've had them, like earlier when I started doing stand-up, I've had them kind of freeze me, because like that can happen where you're just like, oh shit, you kind of like choke, you don't know what to say to their statement. But every comedy book is like, just ignore them. Every like video is like, just ignore them. But when the best time I had a heckler, one heckler had like this amazing beard. You could tell he used like, I don't know, shave club and like all the, you know, shit to make your beard grow out perfectly. And my response to him was just, do you think you're better than me with your perfect beard? And it was like an insult compliment that just like made everyone laugh and also shut him up. Because like, if you're gonna have a very perfect beard, you probably have to be pretty insecure about yourself to be so fucking nitpicky. Just be like, oh, I gotta trim it just right. But ignoring people and just sticking to course is probably better for your practice until you're at a point you figure out what you want to do with it.
Right, but I like your response. It sounds like that's the best way to respond to a heckler, is like insult them and compliment them at the same time.
Yeah, because it's a mind fuck. It's like you can't really be mad about it, and if you are, like, you're gonna look like the real asshole and probably get kicked out. Or what? Do you recall some of the heckles that they said while you're doing your thing, or
Yes, so
you wrote them all down in your diary, or like I'm gonna fucking remember you, John Smith? Yeah.
it's just my OCD.
Yeah.
So I tried out this one joke recently where I was setting it up by saying, so I've been thinking about getting breast implants. This guy in the back just yells, yeah, you should. You know, like I only tried it the one time.
Yeah.
And because I got heckled immediately with like, yeah, you should get bigger tits, I was like,
You fucking surfboard. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I feel like you'd be off balance because you're really tiny as is, so like you'd be basically contributing to back problem potential, and then I feel like you would probably be like center of gravity would be off, perhaps.
Well, I actually used to naturally have double D's.
Nice.
And I was still pretty petite.
Nice.
Yeah. That's why I got molested.
Oh,
I had them from like 14 to my 20s.
that's not nice. That sucks. Sorry. No, yeah.
Hey, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked my big boobs. I didn't understand what they were.
But what were
at
you
14.
wearing at the time? That's the question, right? That is the question. Were you smoking marijuana at the time? What were you doing? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
I was actually like very, very innocent, like super church girl.
Cardigans.
No,
Turtlenecks.
because I had an older half sister who was a prostitute, or are we calling them sex workers now?
Do you get a family discount or what's the
But at the time,
She is not a crack whore. She is an essential sex worker. Show her some respect. She stole my guitars. All of them.
at the time, they were called prostitutes.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm not gonna call her a sex
Sure,
worker
sure.
because she was a fucking
Oh,
prostitute.
ADD kicking in. I gotta interrupt you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you are a sex worker, you can actually write off your boob job.
Oh.
If you eventually do get one,
Okay.
is what I've heard. I don't. And if that's a mansplaination, I apologize. But
No.
as you were stating, your half sister was a prostitute, streetwalker, lady of the night, is what you were saying. I
She
think.
was right in town too. Yeah, so she had, prostitute clothes, and I was like, again, extremely innocent, naive, very sheltered, up until that point, and I didn't understand. I just thought they were like cute clothes that I hadn't seen before. But yeah, so at like 14, I was like wearing my sister's like prostitute clothes.
And that's not what happened though. That was just like you.
It's pretty much started like at that time.
With what you're saying, your nails look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they look like something out of a Ridley Scott film, just very like dark and perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So Ridley Scott, have you
Matches my
seen Blade Runner?
I haven't.
No? Okay. Well, you should.
Well, let's keep talking about my abuse.
Yeah, there we were.
No, right? Like, make whatever kind of crude jokes you want to about it, because that's why I'm trying to do stand-up. It's
Gotcha.
like part of the way I'm trying to like work through some of this shit that happened to me. But so it's a little more complicated, I guess. Like, my sister's client would like come over to our house, and which I don't know, like, she was living at home. Like, I'm 14, my younger brother's there too. It's like
Right.
I don't know why my parents were like I guess totally cool with like having her freaking.
Was she paying rent?
I don't know.
That's the question. That begs the question, right? Because if she has to pay rent, the parents are like, I don't care what you do, just give us the rent money. Are they?
Yeah.
Do you think they're that type to be like, yeah, okay?
Yeah,
That's
my
brutal.
mom's definitely like money hungry. That's all she cares about. And
Is that a broad statement that you honestly believe, or is it just like 80% true?
It's 80% true for sure. Because okay, so my sister's client that she was bringing home, he would like buy all these clothes, and like he would.
Oh, the John would
try
be
them
like, here,
on.
model them.
He would, he would
John.
like encourage me to try them on, and my best friend would come over and she would try them on too. And like, we didn't know, I don't know how my parents didn't think like this fucking weird and like, stop.
Have you seen, I just watched it recently. It's Abducted in Plain Sight. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that one.
I don't know if it would be helpful or triggering, but it's basically a really stupid religious family, just really stupid, that let this pedophile into their house, and the guy kidnaps their daughter like 3 times.
Oh, I've heard of this story though.
And the
Is it a
whole
true
time
story,
I'm
right?
watching it, I'm like, how are these people so fucking dumb? Like, the whole time. Have you seen the new Richard Ramirez on Netflix? The whole same thing. I'm like, they could have caught this guy like 6 times. Why are these detectives so fucking dumb? All they were doing is drinking the entire time. And I feel like it'd be a really funny like buddy film with the dude from Knocked Up with the laugh. You know?
Seth Rogen?
Yeah, Seth Rogen, and like that other stoner dude that was in that stoner movie with him.
I don't remember. I agree.
But yeah, so the John was buying you and your girlfriend.
Like, they were my sister's clothes, but then he would be like, oh, try them on, and we would want to, because it was like stores I wasn't allowed to shop at.
Right, it was like the fun adult thing to do, and you want to be a
Yeah.
grown-up when you're a kid, and then you're a grown-up, you're like, oh fuck, I'm a grown-up, this sucks, why am I not dead yet?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I didn't actually like wear those clothes out. Like, I was literally just wearing them in my house. But I was very like well developed and endowed at a young age. Is that the right word to say for women, or is that only men? Endowed.
I think it applies to both. I don't know, voluptuous?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
very
phrasing.
voluptuous at
Okay.
a young age, and so I was again very innocent, very naive, very sheltered, but like I just wanted to wear what my friends were wearing, and parents would tell me like, no, you can't wear that out, and I'd be like, why not? Like, I'm just like all the other girls, but I don't know.
You didn't have the comprehension in a sense, but also like, you should be able to wear that out technically. Like, it should be a
Yeah.
thing you're allowed to do without being molested.
Yes.
That should be a thing, and I agree with that statement entirely. Unfortunately, the world isn't the way it should be.
But, going back to like the dumb, crazy religious people, and I don't talk to my mother these days, so she was extremely overprotective. The only place I was even allowed to hang out at was church. And we would get into these huge, like, big fights and screaming matches because, like, I would want to just go to the mall with my friends, with my school friends, like, that was the
like
thing to
a
do.
teenager would do.
Exactly. And it was like we had to go to see a counselor about it because we were like having so many issues, and the counselor was like, yeah, let her go to the mall.
Yeah. Right.
And so then it was, but like, so part of my anger comes from the fact that like my mom was extremely overprotective in the dumbest fucking ways possible, but wasn't paying attention to anything that was going on like inside her own house, and like letting dirtbag people like come over and
Yeah, so basically the battles weren't chosen wisely. She didn't choose her battles in the sense, and you're resentful of that, as you kind of should be.
You're talking about all these like documentaries on Netflix and stuff,
Sure.
and so I the one I have seen recently is the Jeffrey Epstein documentary. And that's more what ended up happening in my life. Like, I feel like I can relate to that so much because the client or the customer that my sister was bringing home, she ended up getting pregnant by him, ended up marrying him. They had 4 more kids.
Do you keep I'm sorry, go ahead, keep going. I'm just like,
Yeah, they got married after I think the first one, and then had 4 more kids. And so he was making a lot of money. Like at one point, millions of dollars. They had like $1 million house up near Desert Ridge. They were driving like Hummers and Escalades. And
so he was a douchebag.
yes,
Yeah.
going
Hummers and
fancy.
Escalades just screams. Does he wear like Affliction? Was he wearing
Yes,
Affliction
he
back in the
did.
day? Yeah,
He
it seems
did.
like he would.
Yeah.
Jesus, okay. Yeah.
And so like he had a lot of money, and like my whole family was like still very involved in church, and he was giving a lot of money to the church. So it started from 14 and it went to 18, and I always used to be embarrassed about that because it's like, oh, I was older, I should have known better. But it was very confusing, and like, but he used his money to silence me, like, and threaten me, and he was like, no one's gonna believe you, like, I make all the money, so I'm the man, I'm the boss, you know. And sure enough, like, once it did finally come out to my mom and my sister what had been going on, they were like, nope, you're a liar, you're a slut, like, you're a whore.
You're looking for attention.
Yeah, and
This John is a great man that has donated money, and how dare you speak badly of him?
Yes.
You are ungrateful. That bullshit. Oh
and
my God.
yeah,
Okay.
and it actually came out because he was like having an affair on my sister, and then he tried to say that like having an affair with me, and I was like, no, that is not what's happening at all. But so, you know, like Jeffrey Epstein kind of did that crap with like the media and stuff, and these young 14, 15-year-old girls, he would like lure them in using money. Like my family, we actually didn't have a lot of money. It was just my sister married this guy. He managed to make a lot of money, but like we didn't come from money. And I think he saw like predators are like this. He saw that my mom was very money hungry and knew that he could use money to control like everybody. But you know, Jeffrey Epstein's thing was like, yeah, he was saying like, oh, these girls are prostitutes. Or sex workers, whatever the politically correct term is.
They're underage sex workers.
Yes, and that's what the media was printing, because he was using money to pay off the police department, pay off the media to say whatever he was telling them, you know, however he wanted to paint it. And it's like, when it's that like complicated and complex and convoluted, and it's not just like, oh, I was sexually abused, it happened this one time, and like it was. There's a lot of like fucked up layers to it. Okay. So
if you want to go into them, feel free. I'm not gonna force you to dig deep into it, but like it seems like there's a lot going on. What I want to ask is a little bit off topic. So I haven't watched that Epstein documentary just because it seems to me like low-key promoting pedophilia, and then like the view of it is kind of like trying to attract people that want to know more about the glamour of it. That's what it looks like to me when I see the trailer. And you know what I mean? So when you watch it, or when you watched it rather, did you feel that they had an angle like that?
Well, you make a good point, actually. I mean, it took me a minute to watch it, like, because I felt like, I don't know, mentally and emotionally, psychologically, I was like, needed to feel mentally prepared for it. But I didn't get that vibe at all. Like, I didn't think they were glamorizing it. There was a lot of testimony from the girls who went through it. And so I felt like, especially hearing from them, they're not glamorizing it in any way. I think, if anything, they're showing, like, the darkness of the glamorous, you know, appeal that might be, that people might see.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of stating that they're exposing the tools that rich pedophiles use.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I felt it was more that than glamorizing it, but you're right, like, I guess it kind of depends on your mindset watching it too. I can see how somebody who would want to like know that could take
like write notes just like, okay, get the money and then pay the parents off, okay. And then after that they came out with that little girls dancing troupe one where like they yanked it pretty quick, I think.
I watched that too.
How was that? I mean, I didn't watch it personally because I'm just like, I don't want that in my Netflix history personally, but what was your opinion on that?
Well, I'm glad as adult male you chose not to.
Yeah.
I felt like as a woman I was just curious and inquisitive of, okay, what is this thing? I tried to watch it from a very like analytical, unbiased viewpoint. I think it's interesting. I think in terms of like a social commentary on how social media affects like young girls, I think that is a good message to want to try to talk about. But as far as going as far as they did with like the visuals, I don't know if it was necessary, but I also don't know if you could like get the same point across by not having done that. So it's like this weird thing where I have mixed feelings about it. It's like, did they really need to make that? I don't know, but like just the commentary of what I realized like the director was really trying to say is like, yeah, maybe that's something we should be talking about. Is like these 11-year-old girls are being like hypersexualized and over-sexualized because of what they're seeing on social media, and like they're not really fully understanding what it is. They just see like, oh, this girl's like half nude and she's getting 1,000 likes or 1,000,000 likes or whatever. It's like, I have to do that to get that many likes, and that's what is important to girls at that age, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I mean, back in my day, the whole MySpace top 8 and just that whole bullshit was a big deal. So like the psychological thing of being moved, you had a MySpace, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Back in the day. So like top 8, right? That was a big thing. Your best friend was like number 1 or your significant other. But if they moved down a spot, right, that was like a total, how dare you take me off your top 8 on MySpace, right? Which now is just totally insignificant because it's not a thing anymore. But like that alone was a huge deal. So I can't imagine the mind fuck of like needing to have a thigh gap or like that impossible almost like anime type body where it's like gigantic breasts, gigantic ass, flat rib cage showing stomach, along with, a perfect face. The standards that are now becoming more normalized. I feel like there's going to be new personality disorders coming from social media and all the standards. Do it. Okay, lighter subject. Let's change pace. What's your favorite type of salad dressing?
The kind I make myself.
What kind is that? Of course you make it. The control. Okay. What is the...
Yes, because I'm OCD about my food choices as well, to the extent that I've been accused of having orthorexia, this new eating disorder that is really basically just OCD about food.
Is that like a fear of foods as well, or is it just the OCD like control freak?
It's obsessive thoughts of like needing and wanting to eat like clean, healthy foods. So yeah, like a couple of my friends were like, I'm really concerned about you. I think you have this. And I looked into it and I'm like, yeah, it sounds, like I'll self-diagnose, like, probably. I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with that. They're like, yeah, that's the problem.
Where are they seeing the problem? Have they been able to elaborate on it rather than just regurgitating what they read?
People think I'm like too thin and they're like, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you feel that you eat, your calorie allotment daily? Needed?
No, not always.
Okay.
But I was starting to count macros.
Is that a McDonald's thing? What is that?
No, macros is like counting your carbs, fat, and protein, and like trying to stay within a certain number.
Doesn't seem like a good idea for you. Like, just another thing to like fucking be in control. I don't know. Maybe it works. I mean, some things like that. You don't know. I'm not inside your brain. They're not inside your brain. Maybe it's something that's good for you.
I still eat crap all the time. Like, I ate some Doritos.
Cool Ranch? Cool Ranch? Cool Ranch.
Well, yeah.
You gotta go with Cool Ranch, right? That's the best one, yeah. You can't go with, like... They don't need any other flavor. Just Cool Ranch.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, back to my salad dressing. It has avocado oil in it, a little orange champagne vinegar that I get from Trader Joe's, garlic, salt, pepper, and lemon juice.
So you're like adorably pretentious, is what it is. It's like the hipster, like, ingredients is what it seems like. But if you like it, like, fuck me for saying anything about it, you know what I mean? One time I was at work and I brought like 3 bananas in for my snack. You know, I was trying to like load up on the potassium and get a little healthier. People were like, oh, eating a lot of bananas there, huh? You know, it's like, yeah, who gives a fuck? Like, Lindsay, you're eating a fucking donut again. Like, go fuck yourself with your donut. Trying to be a little bit healthy and like it's none of your goddamn business. Yeah. So if you want to make your own crazy ass salad dressing and you're not like, you know, killing children to get the ingredients, I don't see the problem there.
I'm not aware of any children who have died.
Right. From your
yeah.
Trader Joe's purchases or whatever the hell. Yeah, Sprouts or.
Yeah, purchases.
Any questions you'd like to ask to kind of like turn the table here?
Oh, good question. I think I know this about you. How long have you been performing stand-up?
Like 5 years, but like very inconsistently.
Okay.
And I think so. Like I think most comedians have abandonment issues to a degree, and the more you grind, even if you suck, the more people like you. So the more like frequent you are, the more you're around, the more people like you. But the less you're around, people get like spiteful about it almost at times. And I've only experienced it a handful of times, but I think it's like the abandonment of me not being there and then showing up every once in a while like reminds them of their father or something like that. You know, like, oh, thanks for showing up for a mic, you know, subconsciously dad, like you fucking, you decided to show up this time to the comedy scene. And that's not always the attitude, but a lot of the times I feel like that is. And, but yeah, I've been inconsistently doing it for 5 years. And
is that what made you want to get into stand-up? Is you have abandonment issues, or were initially like?
You know, like a few things. There's that, obviously. You know, I think that's like every comic that's worth listening to. That, you know what I mean? Like except for like super clean comics, but there's that, and then like it's the last form of expression that you could say something original, hopefully, and like actually say it without people giving you shit for the most part until like, you know, 2018 hit or something after that. It became kind of, I think like this generation of like PC police are like Catholic stepmothers that only let you drink Diet Coke on the weekend. You know, that type of like strictness of like, hey, you can't say that. You can say this, you can't say that. And it's like if you go to California where it's super PC, most of the jokes you say in Arizona are going to just cause a total walkout. You know, a protest of like, oh, that's a rape joke, that's not funny. And it's like, yeah, that's a rape victim. They can talk about that all they want. Like, you know, rape's fucked up, and if you joke about it and you're not punching down on the rape victim, you know, that's freedom of expression. That is satire, you know, dark humor, tragedy plus time equals comedy, that whole equation, right? So I don't know. What was the question again? How long have I been doing comedy? 5 years, on and off. 6 years almost.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I also asked like what made you initially interested in feeling you wanted to do it or try it.
So the freedom of expression, can't afford therapy. Alcoholism and stand-up comedy, at least open mics, go hand in hand.
Right.
And that's like something I have to say to new comics is when you're able to go up on stage without drinking, try to keep that consistent. And like the thing I think that's difficult about open mics is listening to like the really awful comics sober, like just because some of it's really bad and almost torturous. Not all of it, and not to talk shit about local comics. This is nobody in particular I'm talking about. It's just that's how it is sometimes. And I think that if you're not careful when you start in comedy, if you keep drinking when you're going to mics, your tolerance raises, and you have to drink 3 drinks instead of 1 to get that kind of like relaxed vibe going. And then after a bit of time, for me at least, I basically was just like shit-faced at most of my open mics, like unintentionally heckling people on stage, like not, you know, trying to be a piece of shit asshole in the audience, but just ending up that way. And a lot of people, I think, have that opinion of me from that era of when I was like in a dark pit of depression for a full year and living off credit cards, like just, you know, paying all my bills off credit cards and then paying my car payment with cash, just making it, you know. So what am I getting at with this? If you can do your sets sober, I recommend it. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
if you can.
Good advice.
Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker, so I'd say like half the times I've gone up, I've had some liquid courage. But I was really happy when I did my booked 5-minute guest spot at GP's Comedy Club on Thursday. Just a little shout out, shameless plug. I mean,
That's cool.
it's over, so it's not.
Yeah, it's not a plug.
But,
yeah. If you have a time machine, go check her out yesterday or last Thursday, whatever the hell it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did not have a drink, and I was happy. Yes, JP even asked me. He's like, you can go in the green room. You can have whatever you want. You want a White Claw? I was like, no, not before.
You basic bitch. You want a White Claw? You dumb bitch.
I gotta count the calories, so I tend to stick with the White Claw.
That's fair. No, it's just kind of funny how that's his go-to offer, which whatever. I mean, it's a polite offer. I just think I don't know. I see humor in it. You got to look at the humor in things. And JP's a nice guy. I've met a handful of times, but the dude is very, precise and, in a sense, almost like a detective about people's character. And I've only met him a handful of times. This is just my general opinion. It's nothing bad. It's just more so. It's almost like the White Claw offer was like a test. Like, do you want to get a free drink, or do you want to be like totally level sober for this set? Which would you prefer? And then I think you chose wisely on that, but that was just your own choice. You probably weren't even thinking that. That's just my paranoid mind kind of going into, this is what's happening. They're all out to get me.
It was cool for me to go to the open mic there the first time I did, because I had only been going to dive bars, like open mics at dive bars, and
right.
So
not your ideal setting. It doesn't seem like your natural habitat, the dive bar.
Right. Well, I mean, that's not true, but...
It's not? Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I like hanging out in dive bars, even if I'm not drinking, but I'm weird like that.
Okay.
But I don't know, yeah, I made a huge deal about it, like, oh my god, this is a real club, and like, even just for open mic, I was like freaking out, but...
That's cool, it means you care.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. And there's like kind of comedy milestones, where you like, first set you do without a set list, you're like, fuck yeah, I didn't need a piece of paper the whole time. Or like, first set you do where you handle a heckler well, things like that. So congratulations on doing your first set sober inside an actual comedy club.
Thank you.
That's good. That's great.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like half the time you can catch me like in the parking lot, or even just like outside with my headphones in, like trying to dance off my nerves.
That's awesome. Whatever you gotta do that's like healthy. That's a healthy like coping mechanism. Just, maybe not in the dark alleys of the dive bars is what I'd recommend, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually would I really am into the mace bracelet idea, especially for Tempe Tavern, because,
Oh, yeah. Glory hole's next door, and there's some shady characters just walking around waiting for...
I've been legitimately scared walking to my car by myself leaving the tavern. And I yell at all the guys. I'm like, you guys are assholes. You don't even walk me to my car.
Yeah, dude, what the hell? My mom would, kill me if she knew that was, So one thing my mom, really did right with my upbringing is she, gave me that, classic 1950s, be a gentleman to a degree and, hold the door open. You're so tiny. I'm really surprised people... And you're adorable. I'm just going to say that. So they're kind of cock-blocking themselves by not walking you to your car.
Right?
Right?
And, at the very least, you'll get a hug out of me.
Yeah, dude, you'll get a hug. And, you fucking comics at that mic need to get your shit together and walk her to her car. Right? So... one thing about me is, when I'm not in a relationship, I'm, kind of a man-ho. And... Any comic will know that I know a little bit about women. I don't think any men know really about women, but they would see me at mics with a different girl every single time, and they'd be like, bro, how do you get these ladies, da-da-da? And it's like, don't be a fucking moron. It's really simple to not be a fucking moron. Fuckers at fucking Tempe Tavern better start walking her to her car.
This is a wise man right
do
here.
that shit. I don't know what the fuck your problem is, but do that shit. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I was complaining to Jeremy Ditto, who runs it. I don't care. I'm going to put him on blast. Do people still say that? That's such a, I think 90s, early 2000s.
You know what? Who gives a shit? We say it. He's just putting you on blast, Ditto. I love Ditto, by the way, but please proceed.
I do too.
Put him on blast.
Too, but I was complaining to him about this one night, and he's just like, yeah, I guess when you've been around and doing it as long as I have. He's like, I've just seen really awful shit happen. He's like, I've seen rape. And I was like, okay, all the more reason.
Yeah.
Walk me to my car.
Right.
Right next to an adult store.
We're all
right
just
before
dead
home.
inside, Jess. Like, you're not special. Just go outside and get raped again. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. You gotta be used to it by now. That's my Jeremy Ditto impersonation.
Yeah. The tavern open mic. That's why it's actually my favorite open mic. Like, because I feel like, especially being new to comedy, like, you just have to be okay with bombing for a while.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I think the hardest part for anybody to, like, get into it. And so I'm like, okay, tavern, nobody's paying attention anyway, so it's not gonna, like, bother me if I'm just up here talking and nobody's laughing at anything I'm saying.
Because they're not gonna laugh anyways most of the time at that specific
We
spot.
probably all have, like, the comics that we're like, oh, I want to make that person laugh. Do you have that? Like, is there people you see around regularly where you're like, oh, I just want to make so-and-so laugh at this?
Not even, no. I'm always, in a sense, honored when it happens, right? There's been some moments where I say a joke and someone I look up to laughs and, like, audibly said, fuck, that's a good joke. And I'm like, yeah. Recently at El Charro Hipster, go there, it's fucking great. It's over on Grand Avenue. Gigi and her family run it, it's fucking great. Shout out to El Charro Hipster. Noah Flores, decent dude, kind of funny. He's decent. He's not the greatest guy, he's decent.
Comics are pieces of shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So-
Comics are kind of the most narcissistic people in existence. We go into rooms with strangers and talk about ourselves into a microphone, expecting people to care. That's like a high expectation. It's a very high expectation to go, hey, you didn't even know comedy was happening. You're just trying to eat like a fucking burrito, but I'm going to talk to this microphone about stuff that you probably don't want to hear, and you're going to like me. It's like a very almost schizophrenic, hopeful mindset.
It's a shame. I really don't think should be any room for censorship in comedy. I mean, that's one of the things that drew me to it. Like, you were talking about freedom of expression.
Yeah.
And I was in therapy, but I didn't feel like I could even be fully honest with my therapist about some of my, like, mental health struggles. So I, needed another outlet, and yeah, I just think comedy is the place, like, you should be able to go and say whatever you want, and
Right.
people need to understand, like, even if you're personally offended, like, maybe you should look at yourself and ask, like, why am I so offended by this thing this person said that, like, I don't even know, and they're just up there for 5 minutes
Yeah.
talking shit, and it's like, people need to make a whole big march out of it.
Right.
It's just like, get a life.
Why don't you focus on your own issues and get your shit together, Karen, instead of fucking, like, complaining about somebody else's art that you don't know shit about while you fucking, like, paper mache stuff that doesn't sell on your Etsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're calling for censorship in comedy, just fucking stop it.
Yeah,
Just
stop. You fucking Karens out there. I don't know.
But I'll probably be hated because I feel I'm very, like, I have anti-feminist views, even though, like, I've been, like, tragically abused by men.
Right. But you're an independent woman, though. Like, by definition, you're a strong independent woman at this point, right? You have your own place.
Married, and...
Are you married?
No.
Okay.
I got divorced last year.
High five. Good for you. I think, right?
I didn't want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I retract the high five. Yeah, the high five retracted.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, I hate even saying that because the marriage was never, like, legalized. So, I mean,
You guys just didn't have sex after you got married? It was consummated? Like, what do you mean it wasn't legalized? How does that work?
Well, I know, I'm, like, confusing marriage with marijuana.
He's like, gross, ew, sex with a girl? You're just my beard.
We actually did not consummate our marriage on our wedding night.
Really? Did you get in an argument instead? Like, what happened there?
Kind of, and, like,
No makeup sex, like, immediately after?
no.
Just do it from the start, then. I mean, it wasn't meant to be, if that's the case, really. What were you saying?
No, so, like, this asshole, he's 24 years older than me. I drained my 401k and my savings to, like, add room additions onto his existing tiny house.
His motorhome?
Up north. It wasn't a motorhome.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Standards a little bit higher than that.
I mean, I am white trash, but I'm like not trying to live like.
Stop degrading yourself. You're turning me on. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, like he just fucking kicked me out, like put a restraining order on me, said a whole bunch of shit in this restraining order when the police officer, like I was staying up at the house by myself and he had like come down to Phoenix, and anyway, when the officer came to put the restraining order on me, he's like, look, I'm not saying I believe anything he's saying in here is true.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, but...
Well, do you want to get into that? Because my curiosity is like...
Yeah, I mean, like, the worst thing I did was, like, I broke a window with a rock. I've done that.
This guy's a pussy.
A few times.
Come on, that's standard. That's like dating. That's like 5 months into dating stuff. That's not bad. Continue. What else was...
And then I took his, like, crystal paperweight and I threw it against the solar panel and smashed
A crystal paperweight?
Yeah.
He has a paperweight?
Yeah.
Was this guy a hoarder?
Yes and no.
Was he basically one of those materialistics, like the stuff he had was nice, but he had a lot of it, and he bought stuff to fill the void? Mm-hmm. I don't know what that's like, with all these fucking guitars and shit. No,
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, like, I don't know, I just feel like telling you. I can't.
Yeah, you just did it. You literally just did it.
Okay.
Good. Try to other way. So heel goes towards that window, at least.
This one?
Yeah, so when you're coming through, try to go at least to here. Okay? Good, good. Cool. Okay, two more.
Okay.
Ready? Before they come across. Go, go, go. 1, 2, again. Ready? Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Again, go, go, go. Go, go, go.
Sorry.
Cool. All right. We're done. You go ahead and start off if you don't mind.
Esther Perel, yes.
Esther Perel.
She's a Belgian psychologist. I believe she has a podcast. And she specifically deals with like relationships and couples. And she had an interesting take on the BDSM lifestyle, and that women who participate in that, specifically even as a sub, it's actually, she said a lot of them find that it's a very safe environment to kind of explore and experience different fantasies. Like, surprisingly, a lot of women do have rape fantasies. We don't want to be raped, but it's like a really safe way to like have control over that fantasy.
Right. No, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't going to. You know, like it's a weird thing to bring up if you're not the person that experienced it. But yeah, so basically what I've heard from that is it's almost like EMDR therapy where you're working on the issue by enjoying the issue in a safe environment.
Yeah.
So basically it's kind of like a therapeutic experience where you're in control of a situation that you don't associate control with. And then from there, you're able to cope in a sense, is what the, I don't know, theory is what I've heard. And in that instance, that's a good thing. I think a lot of people don't understand that. The thing that's dangerous about BDSM as a whole, not that it's a dangerous thing, but is the difference between like a douchebag that wants to hurt women, you know, and like, I'm the dom, you do what I say, and what you're stating there is the...
Versus like a man who just wants to help fulfill the woman's fantasy.
Right, and like understands like, hey, don't do that, do this, if I say this, where we have to stop no matter what, and like respects that and understands it. And then there's other men that are either wanting to just be fully abusive, or that think BDSM is like as a whole abuse because they can't wrap their mind around like the non-vanilla mindset of it, of you know, joking or things of that nature. And from there they're like, well, I'm not mad at you, why would I hit you? So like they have no problem hitting a woman out of anger, but if it comes to pleasing her, it's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why would that, you know, help me? Yeah, so...
Yeah, I think exactly that's what's fucked up about it, is like, out of anger, we're all just like, oh yeah, that happens. And then in a sexual sense, it's like, oh no, that's weird. It's like, no, it's like, I think the sexual part is like, that makes sense. Hitting like a man hitting a woman out of anger, especially if the man is like larger in size than she
Right.
is like, no, that's fucked up.
Right. What was I going to say? It's kind of hard to get off this subject, right? It's like, where do we go from there? What's the next topic?
Well, I will add one other thing to the BDSM stuff, and I think Esther Perel makes a point of this too, is like, that really only works, like you're talking about how there's some men that want to just be more aggressive with it, and it's more of like their kind of ego or whatever, as opposed to like, oh, I'm doing this to fulfill this woman's fantasies. But I think for the woman, like, she has to trust her partner.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't recommend, like, not that I've even done it, but I wouldn't recommend like a young girl like meeting a guy at a bar and being like, oh, let's go do some BDSM shit back at your place.
Right, right.
Like, for me, there would have to be a very long established trust there first.
Right.
So
That's a healthy mindset to have, rather than just, sure, stranger, go tie me up in rope, and I don't know you, but sure.
I guess some people are okay with that,
Yeah.
but like with my whole deal, it's like, no, I need,
Yeah.
I need to trust them.
No, yeah, that's the mindset of the whole BDSM thing. Is it's about trust, apparently. Like, right? That's what they say. It's you're giving power to someone that you trust, and through there they don't abuse that trust, but the trust grows, and you do more extreme things. That's the ideal for that person. I don't know. It's a hard subject to talk about without going too extreme. You know, it's like, oh yes, BDSM, yes, definitely, you know, and then keep it respectful within the discussion.
Yes.
Yeah. So that being said, you need a switch, is what you need. You need a guy that is 20% switch, so 80% of the time, within it all, he can dom you, and then every once in a while you can peg him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal, is a guy that's 20% switch and 80% dom.
Yeah.
In the bedroom only, and on the outside of that, 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you're like 100% in control and he's just yes ma'am type status, you know, in the real life world. Something to that effect, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a big part of why my marriage didn't work out, was because of my apparently controlling tendencies and my like OCD and minimalism lifestyle. It was, I don't know.
I'm sure there's some dude out there that like has a mother that tells him what to do, everything in his life, you know, and is just used to being told what to do and doing it. That would fucking love having you boss him around and tell him exactly what to do.
Yeah.
It's probably in existence somewhere. And like, it's like, you know, not everybody likes being peed on, but there are people that like being peed on. And it's got to be a hard thing to go, hey, I want you to pee on me. And then the person's like, why would I want to do that? Or like, vice versa, somebody's like, hey, I want to pee on you. And they're like, why do you want to pee on me? And they're like, God damn it, why can't I find anybody? And they don't know that other person is out there that also wants to participate in that type of thing. But here's one thing, though, that I thought would be a weird predicament, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say someone is into, like, the thing that almost nobody is into, basically scat, right? Mm-hmm. And they find someone that is also into scat, but both of them are only into doing it to people and not receiving it. Mm-hmm. So then they're like, hey, I'm going to shit on you, right? And the other person's like, no, I'm going to shit on you. And they're like, wait, so you don't want to be shit on? It's like, no, I don't want to be shit on. I don't like being shit on. You like being shit on? That's disgusting. Like, so they're on the same page, but not in a way that works for them. That'd be a predicament. That'd be disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say to that.
Right.
I am more vanilla. Like, I don't want to.
No, that's healthy. That's good.
I don't want to piss or shit on anybody. I don't want anyone to piss or
Standards.
shit on.
You gotta have standards. Yeah. I think that's a good place to draw the line within all of that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm into that, and I'm not judging I'm judging people that are into being shit on and shitting on people a little bit. Like, I judge that a little. That's not healthy, you know? You're gonna get pink eye. The odds are against you. You're gonna get pink eye, and you gotta, don't do that.
I'm against it for hygienic purposes.
Yeah.
So, even though they say you're in a sterile, I don't need to verify it.
You don't have to test it, yeah. It's not something you want control over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, cause I was like, how did I start talking about this? Oh, it was all because like my ex-husband wouldn't fuck me, and that's why I went batshit crazy. But I have this one other fantasy, and like I have yet for anyone to do it with me, and I'm like, okay. But I think it would be really fun to like paint each other's bodies and then like fuck on a blank canvas.
Dude, that's fucking romantic as hell.
Right?
Yeah, dude. I don't like paint. I can't do that.
Every dude like this is the shit that pisses me off. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like every dude is like, oh, like it's gonna make a mess. It's like
Yeah, on a canvas, bro.
Yeah.
We'll lay down some fucking tarp or garbage bags and then get to it, and then we'll have a painting, and when we break up I could burn it. You know, like that's yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking people need to get their shit together.
Right?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're like, I have the money to purchase it. I went to Michael's, I have the canvas, all the art supply, just fuck me on this canvas, that's all I'm asking. And they're like, my pants are on already, I don't know. That's rough.
It is.
That's not in the way you want it though, it's just rough in general in the traditional sense. That's not fun, is what I mean, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think they can't get their shit together? Why do you think that is?
I think I am probably a difficult person to deal with.
Okay.
So maybe by the time I'm like, oh, let's do the fun, sexy stuff,
They're
like,
just not turned on because they think you're going to be like yelling at them the whole time. Like, no, you're putting it in me wrong.
You're not doing
You're
it
supposed
right.
to do 2 slaps, not 3.
And it's even like more minor than that. Why the fuck is your elbow right there? It needs to be like pointing out.
Really?
No, I don't know.
No, really. I mean, seriously. Like, let's get into that because is that how it is for you?
No.
Please be detailed on that because that's interesting and kind of hilarious. Like, not to make fun of you, but as a whole, but you got to admit, like, that predicament, if it is in that sense anything like that, it's interesting and humorous in my opinion. Could you go on that a little bit?
I mean, I'm totally joking and being
Okay.
facetious. Like, I don't think I really have it. I don't think I have it like that. Like, no, I'm not controlling during sex.
That's fair.
It's just everything else outside of sex.
So here's an OCD joke that I haven't told yet because I'm still working on it. I want to make it more funny than it is partially sexist. And it goes, I dated a girl with OCD. The place was always clean. She always had to give me 3 blowjobs, not just 1. Yeah. So that one's okay. And then another one that's like less, you may have heard this one. I think I did it at Charles once. It's, I have OCCCD, not a stuttering issue. I just have to say the C multiple times or my family will die.
I actually really like both of them.
Yeah, because that's
really
how
good.
crazy it is to a degree, extreme, I should say. Not crazy, right? Because that's not PC, obviously. But that's how extreme it can be within the OCD mindset. Is that accurate to say? Like,
Yes.
so do you have the tendencies of turning the light on and off or locking the door multiple times?
I used to. So I no longer have my own space. I live actually with a family,
Okay.
but it's like not a bad setup. My rent is dirt cheap. I have my own master bedroom and bathroom on the
Yeah.
downstairs. My room's the only room downstairs, so
It's like you got your own little, like, fucking place.
It's,
and
like,
then
rated
there's people
for-
that live upstairs paying your rent for you. Yeah.
exactly. I have a
Yeah.
huge kitchen to cook in, so that makes me happy. And yeah, it's like I can just live and be a degenerate and go do comedy right now. 'Cause
Can I
it's-
ask your profession? What's your profession?
Yes, so I'm a real estate broker.
Okay.
I'm a real estate license. Shout out, shameless plug, ROI Properties. So I was
They don't
selling.
want to be associated with this. They're like, why the fuck did you do that? You're fired. Get out of here.
When COVID hit, we were directed to work remote. I was working remotely from home at the tiny house up north. My husband at the time suddenly was just like extremely pissed off. I was working crazy hours from like 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, even though I was working from home. And that was like every day, and he was just like yelling at me all the time. He was extremely jealous. He knew that commercial real estate is a male-dominated industry.
And he's a
didn't-
scrub.
yeah.
He's a scrub.
And he did not like that I had to be communicating with so many men. And then I got on LinkedIn and, I just started connecting with some of my old business contacts. My ex-husband was extremely jealous. And
Little
so,
dick energy.
Yes.
Little dick energy.
Yes.
Even if your dick is huge, if you have little dick energy, it's not good.
It was like little dick plus old man.
Old man,
Plus-
non-working little dick energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. So the situation at home became like so extremely abusive, just like psychologically, verbally, and was getting to be where he was like physically abusive as well. I couldn't like mentally even work anymore to kind of like do my own thing. My boss had also told me she had started assigning me responsibilities that were technically somebody else's responsibility in the job, but it was for marketing, and she's like, you have a very creative mind, and wanted me to like do all my work, which is a lot of like analyst type of stuff, and start doing like the marketing stuff, which was technically somebody else's job. And I just realized, like, yeah, I do have a creative mind, and I don't want to use it on
Look, I've been
real
raped
estate.
before. You knew what was going on. You're like, motherfucker, you're trying to rape me right now. What is this
Yeah,
shit?
I'm like, I don't want to use it for somebody else to help somebody else make more money, you know. I don't, and it was just like, I needed to use it for like my own purposes, I guess. And it's like, I'm happy to be able to channel more of my creative focus into comedy right now. This is something I've never been able to do at any point in my life, and I think for people who have had severe trauma, having some kind of a creative outlet and process is a huge key to the healing process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like Trent Reznor. Like, do you like Nine Inch Nails? You ever listen to Nine Inch Nails?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, best album's like Downward Spiral, which is his like autobiography of just being like suicidal almost and like a heroin addict. And I wish he'd relapse so he could put out an album that good again. You know, like he's got like a kid and family, and he's like doing scores now and releases an album every once in a while. But like his like best work was when he was like a drug addict. Same with Metallica. Like they cut their hair and stopped drinking, and then they released Load, which is like a mediocre album after Ride the Lightning and all these albums where they were just shit faced drunk the whole time. Like they were in a bad spot, but that's where like the art comes in. So that's why my comedy isn't as good. I'm in like an actually healthy relationship right now. So my comedy's like mediocre at best. But when you're like fucking angry and sad and like you have like all this pent up shit, you can like put that into your art and then it's fucking amazing. But if life is happy, you don't need something to distract you. So I agree with everything you're stating about channeling it, and also like good for you for being like, hey, my creativity is mine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to work my ass off for you to take advantage of my creativity and make a profit off of my ideas that you would never have without me around while I fucking do this other asshole's job. Go fuck yourself. Like, that's awesome on you. And I'm sure you were very polite about it, too. You're just like, no, I don't think so. Thank you, though. Like, take care. Bye. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I wrote it.
Yeah, I don't like the way like the corporate world tries to like force creativity out of people either. It's like when I write jokes, like it's just kind of coming to me naturally, you know. Like I mean, you do still have to put work into it, and I do. Like the OCD is really good for that, and I'm like always changing minor words and whatever. But yeah, I didn't like it like being like, well, you have to, like, I need the creative stuff right now. Like, like it's some kind of a machine and you're just pumping.
I need it by Monday.
Yeah.
First thing Monday morning. Work over the weekend and get that creativity going.
Yeah, but you know, like creative types.
By the way, do John an accountant's job too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like creative types can't work like that. I just need it to, you know, be my own thing and my own pace.